All right, everybody. Welcome to the Sober Strength Show. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Hope you had an amazing holiday season, whatever that looked like to you, and hope that you are starting this year healthy and excited and ready for, as my good buddy Justin would say, a year to send it. Whatever that means, you'll hear that in this episode just momentarily. Hey, look, so glad you're joining us. We are kicking off the year here the same way we kicked off the whole show, which is Justin Maziarz, co-founder of the podcast and co-host, joined to just talk about 2024, reflect on it. We asked each other some surprise, kind of funny and also deep questions about the year that just passed, as well as our growth goals and hopes for 2025. So we hope that the conversation stirs something up in you, encourages you, motivates you, pauses you and you right where you are, and has you just reflect and ask yourself, where am I and where do I want to be? And you go from there. So that's what we hope. Just a quick public service announcement, a PSA, if you will. I always like to remind the veterans listening to the show, we have a fitness app that is free for you. It's the Ultimate Fitness app. You can go to our website at www.ultimfitness.com, look for the military verification link, click it, complete it, and then you will get access to our world-class fitness app, which has 20 plus comprehensive fitness programs for things like losing weight, getting bulk, getting strong, even running a marathon. It's all there for you. And I would propose that the app is second to none. So it's free for veterans. I'm a veteran. Most of the men in my immediate and distant family were veterans. So we just want to offer a resource for you to focus on physical health so that you can grow deeper in your emotional fitness as well. And if you're not a veteran, you can have everything I just mentioned for just $9.99 per month. And you can find that on our website and also on the Google Play Store and the App Store. I think it's called the Google Play Store, not a Google guy or Android guy, whatever. Either way, you can find it. Go to our website and we will be happy to give you access to it. So without further ado, I really hope you enjoy my conversation with the powerful Justin Maziarz. Let's go deep. And of course, you know I'm going to mispronounce your name on purpose. You know I'm going to do that. That's the little ritual we have, is it not, Justin Maziarz?
Nah, you make me forget how to pronounce it after we do this every time. So I'm going to start saying it wrong now.
Maziarz. Everybody, I'm here with the guy where it all started, right? Justin Maziarz. I said it the right way. Welcome back to the show, my good friend.
Awesome to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, dude. Super excited. I think we're recording this. It is December 27th. So we just got a couple days left in the year. It's a time where I just think naturally, because of the time of year, people are reflecting. They're asking themselves important questions about life and how they're doing. And then I think, most importantly, where we're heading and where we're going. And I thought, and we thought, that it'd be a great episode to just get back together, since this is episode 56, since the first episode where it all started with Justin and I. And we're just going to kind of talk, and we're going to talk about 2024, 2025. And we have a pretty fun, I hope, little format here where I think like 50% nervous and 50% like excited, where I tasked Justin. I said, Justin, come up with 3 questions for me that are some combination of either deep, profound, or humorous. Hopefully the first 2. And I'll do the same for him. So if it's all right with you, Justin, we'll start off with just some questions about 2024, and then we'll talk about 25. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing.
So my first question for you, and I seriously want to know the answer to this. When you reflect on who you were, the man of Justin Maziarz, a year ago today, and that's December 27th, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
However you want to define better, are you a better man today than you were 1 year ago? Why or why not?
I'd like to think yes. Sure as hell tried, at least, that's for sure. No, I think there's a lot of ways to answer that question depending on how you want to approach it. I think everybody has goals, obviously, that they want to achieve. And I also think life happens throughout a year. And a lot of times you have to pivot and or experience things that you didn't necessarily have planned to experience nor want to. But through those things, I think, especially in 2024, it came with its own set of challenges that I myself had. Everybody had their own challenges in 2024. But I have learned throughout this journey, especially over the last 5 years that I've been sober from alcohol, that those are the moments that really define what happens next with you. So all of the hardships and all of the problems that happen, like dealing with them and going through them, not going around them, I think has helped shape the year of 2024 into what it has become for me. And I think heading into 2025, I can hang my hat knowing that, hey, 2024 was a hell of a year, for better or for worse. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of where I'm standing. And, from being a dad, obviously there's things that I think every day I could do a lot better, and will always be my own worst critic. But I do think at the end of the day, I will absolutely be able to say, yeah. And over the past year, looking back December 27th, if you would have asked me December 26th, I might have a different answer, 2023, but no, I'm kidding. I definitely think I have been, a little bit better. I won't say a lot, but I'll give myself a little slack, a little better than last year.
Also, that's just looking at you. I don't know if it's the shirt or your traps and your shoulder width and your
it's
whole.
The shirt.
It's the shirt. No, you look, and I know you've been lifting, and I know you had some lower back pain for a while, but you look good for
Thanks,
what it's worth. You had a major milestone, right? 5 years.
5 years, yeah. About 1 month ago, honestly, yeah.
How was year 5 versus year 4 versus year 3? Just kind of keeping it going.
I think 5. Dude, I was an emotional mess on my 5 year. It was all gratitude. But the second I woke up, tears. But it was this one was, I think I never thought I'd be able to say, I was gonna count how long it took me to start crying in this on this podcast this time. I never thought I would be 5 years ever. So that realization was huge. And I think it was one of the first, I guess, year anniversaries that I was able to say, you know what, man, this is pretty cool. I'm proud of myself, man. I'm doing the damn thing that I thought was going to be the last thing I ever did. And I think I said this on the first episode, year 4 was the hardest, in terms of getting there. But this year, it was probably the first year out of the last 5 where I got excited to actually count the days to I'm almost at 5 years, man. I'm almost at 5 years. And I'm me and I'm insane. And I just have always looked down and be one day, man, I'm going to have to use 2 hands. And that's always been a goal for me to get to 6. So God willing, I'll get there, man.
Beautiful. And I know I didn't say that I would have follow-up questions for the original question. And this next one's just a follow-up reaction to seeing this straight gratitude and passion coming off of you. I'll try not to cry, but He doesn't listen to this show. At least he wouldn't tell me that he does. And I don't talk about him a lot. But I've got a biological brother, just one. And I texted him the other day because the Redskins beat the Eagles unexpectedly, and my brother's a Redskins fan, and I know you're an Eagles fan, so that was a little dart I just threw at you. But I look for little opportunities to stay connected with my brother. And surprisingly to me, not only did he respond the Redskins won, he actually said that he just finished he's in the middle of his longest ever time without alcohol, and it was 30 days. 30 days. And that's a huge, huge deal. If there's a person whose health and wellness keeps me up at night, it's my brother. And I think he was sharing that with me because he knows my journey, obviously, in this endeavor of this podcast. But the fact that my brother, of all people that I was hoping and praying would do that, it's him. So, it was 3 days ago. I hope he's 33 days. We'll see.
Hey, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, dude. And I hear you saying 5 years, and I sincerely and really deeply hope that my brother can keep going with that. So, yeah,
hey, man. In my opinion, 30 days is a bigger deal than 5 years. So good for him. That's amazing.
If you're listening, shout out to my big bro, Lester. Hope you're listening, buddy.
Congrats, man.
Yep. Hey, it's Jesse, and if you've been following this show, then you know I've had my fair share of struggles with alcohol over the years. You also know that I built a pretty solid toolkit to help maintain a healthy relationship with alcohol. Things like fitness, mindfulness, accountability groups, and technology. All great, all helpful, but there's one tool I've recently found that blew my mind, and I can't believe it took me so long to discover it. It's called naltrexone, an FDA-approved, science-backed, and affordable medication that helps reduce cravings and control drinking. The first time I took it, I'll never forget, I was skeptical and not completely buying into the idea that a medication can help me with drinking. But just after a few days, I could not believe how effective it was in eliminating all of my cravings for alcohol. It needs to be more better known. And that is where 𝐬𝐓 comes in. And I'm honored to have them as a sponsor of the show. You can have doctor-prescribed naltrexone shipped discreetly and directly to your door. No pharmacies, no doctor's offices, just the help you need. It's online, it's private, and it's judgment-free. And most importantly, it works. As of today, over 35,000 𝐬𝐓 members have been treated, and 76% of respondents report drinking less in just 2 short weeks. So here's how to get started. Text STRENGTH to 710-710. That's STRENGTH to 710-710. You'll take a quick, discreet survey, and they'll guide you through the entire process of trying naltrexone for the first time. It's easy, straightforward, and honestly, might be the best move you make for yourself today. So if you're ready to take a massive step forward in controlling your alcohol intake, text STRENGTH to 710-710 and let 𝐬𝐓 help you redefine your relationship with alcohol. All right, let me shake off the goosebumps there. And
We'll be back, don't worry.
Yep, your turn. Your turn.
My first question. Let's start out a little light. Let's change the mood up a little bit here. Let's get back to breathing a little. This was one I stole this from somebody that I heard today at the gym.
Okay.
But if you were to describe the year 2024, your personal year, as a workout, how would you describe the first 3 movements that you decide to use?
I have to repeat it back. If 2024 were a workout.
Yeah. What are the first 3 exercises that you would use to describe it?
All of it's going to have to do with my 2-year-old Tasmanian devil, wild man son, who's just keeping us all on our toes. The first one is, this makes sense to me. I'm just going to go and riff here. The first one is whatever you call hitting a tire with a sledgehammer repeatedly over and over.
Functional training. I love it.
But yeah, just sledgehammer tire hits until exhaustion on the floor. That would be my first workout to describe 2024. My second one, I'm going to have to go with one that I can't do because I repeatedly failed over and over again in many different areas of my life. It would have to be handstand push-ups. Handstand push-ups, because literally, if I try to do one right now, I can't. I don't have the wrist dexterity. I don't have the shoulder mobility. So the second workout would be just failure. Anything I could fail at. And, if I'm being real, and I always like to be, it wasn't the easiest year. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
So I would have to say a conventional 1 rep max deadlift, because I always think I can do it, and then I'm always in pain afterwards. So
everything hurts.
Everything hurts, and everything's kind of hard. So that's my workout. If anyone's listening and it doesn't work out, just trust me, everything I named was painful.
Oh gosh, that's amazing. I was expecting some form of like insane HIIT training protocol that you have memorized by now.
No. Well, you framed it there. I had to pick 3 movements, and I think anyone that tries to pick up a sledgehammer and hit a tire as much as they can, as fast, you're gonna be pretty shot. And I felt shot a lot of 2024.
Understandably so.
Next question for you, short and simple, but hopefully entertaining. What is the most embarrassing thing that you did in 2024?
Most embarrassing? Jeez. I feel like there's a lot of different ways I could answer this, and there's too many things to choose from, which is quite fun.
Let me do this. Keep it. It doesn't have to be PG-13. It can be R, but don't go into whatever's
Oh,
after
not just
R.
open up the door for a whole new plethora, Jesse.
R is okay.
Embarrassing. Something I shed a little bit of light on this when we were talking a little bit earlier. I go through phases of when I have to do something, like if there's one thing that needs to be done around the house, every single thing of that thing is now getting replaced. In this case, it was lighting fixtures in both of our bathrooms. I went into this project insanely confident, and we only needed one new one, but of course I had to do both of them. So we buy said light fixtures, and I told my wife, it'll take me like 20 minutes. It'll be fine. First one, totally great. Bathroom's right here. Probably the best light fixture in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, if I must say so myself. The other bathroom, Jesse, there's still not a light fixture in that bathroom, because I went to confidently take off the old one. It came off like a charm, but I noticed that the electrical box was about 2.5 feet off center to the left. So the new one couldn't go up there. So I stood there for about 10 minutes contemplating, do I continue and just start putting holes in the wall and rip all the electrical? That I have no idea if I even hit the right breaker at this point off. So I had to explain to my wife that I'm bowing out of light fixture number 2, and that we will do, the children and her can do their whatever hair and makeup in the beautifully bright other bathroom that has a light.
So
fixture.
it's pitch black. It's just pitch black at night in that bathroom.
I know it has the shower fan light, and that really doesn't illuminate anything. So you're kind of hoping for the best if you got to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and usually find out the next morning.
I think it was a wise move to kind of pull up and pull out for the moment and do it right, because you don't mess with electric and plumbing.
No.
If there's two things you don't mess with.
Babe, if you're listening, I love you, and I'm going to get the light fixture taken care of. I promise.
Yeah. But you probably were like overconfident because you like fixed one the right way.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh yeah, I got this. Yeah.
Next, I'm going to do this one hand. And they're like, oh, never mind. Not doing it at all. That's one. I'm sending that one back your way, though. Give me an embarrassing one.
Oh, I should have, you know what? I should have expected you. Let me, I got it. Wait. I got it. Let me think. 2020. I'm just going to pull, I think it was in the last year. Yeah, it had to be. So set the scene, set the context for you. I am not by any means a patient man. And in order to be a good cook, I think a lot of times you have to have a certain level of appreciation of detail and also patience. And I don't blame myself for this. I'm going to blame my wife, who does listen to this, and she hears this. This is your fault, not mine. And I said this in the moment when I was defending myself in front of my entire family. We decided for some reason to split up hors d'oeuvres and entree on Thanksgiving. So my in-laws, they live about 10 minutes away. So 25 people drove over there first to do their appetizers, while they left me at the primary place, which is my house, who was hosting, to take care of the turkey. So the turkey's in the oven. My wife explains logistics. She says, I'm taking the kids. We're going to get appetizers. We'll be back at this time. Here's your job, Jesse. Your job is take this thermometer, stick it in that bird, and keep it in the oven until it says certain temperature, right? Like,
naturally,
that's it.
Yeah.
So knowing my own limitations and how terrible I am as a cook, I made sure I asked a bunch of follow-up questions. Stuff like this, Justin. I said, Meg, are you sure there's nothing else I need to do? And, oh, no, there's nothing else you do. Okay, so, like, there's nothing else. Like, if you think outside the box, like, how could I mess this up? Like, that's it. Just stick the thermometer in. And she said, yeah, no, that's it. Trust me. As long as you do that, like, check it. If that's all it is, I got it. So
I can do this.
You hear how I set that up, Justin? It's like, I'm bulletproofing myself for later. If you blame this on me, I'm going to blame it on you, because I asked you and gave you every opportunity. Yes. Okay.
Proactively, which is impressive. On Thanksgiving.
Well, dude, the question was, what was the most embarrassing thing ever? So that whole 25, army tribe of Carrajats and Ricks, her maiden, they're all coming over to like eat a turkey, right? Things out of the oven. They open it up, bro. It's like sushi, like the middle of it.
Medium rare turkey.
Yeah, but like everyone's ready to eat dinner. That machine is flowing. The sides are on the table. People are sitting down. It's turkey time, and it's literally sushi. And I got a house full of 25 people basically watching two spouses just kind of like navigate this really complicated situation where she's like, how could you do this? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute. I gave you every opportunity to not let me mess this up. This is not my fault.
In writing.
So speaking of another guy who occasionally listens to my podcast, Uncle Stretch. So this is my wife's aunt's husband. Uncle Stretch is the man. He showed up as a gift with a smoked turkey that was enough to feed the entire family. Now, I don't know if he did that because he heard that like Jesse was going to be responsible. It was
proactively bringing an even better turkey than what Jesse's cooking.
So we had a whole smoked turkey that we ate down to the bone, and then we had sushi turkey sitting on the counter. I was embarrassed because I'm like, I'm trying to be a host and I dropped the ball with the most important prized possession. But yeah, man, I don't know that myself or anyone else that was there will ever let me forget about that atrocity. So
it'll pass over in a couple of years when the next family member probably does the same thing. It happens.
Yeah, but to my wife, Meg, hey, next time, give me better instructions. It's not my fault.
Redemption turkey next year, Jess.
Yeah, heck. Well, no, I quit. I hung up, man. I'm done.
Yeah, that's my light fixture is your turkey.
Yeah, mac and cheese. I'll make a mean side. Look, for some reason, when it comes to mental health and recovery from alcohol misuse, people don't talk about supplements enough. When I decided to step away from alcohol and rebuild my health, I quickly learned that nutrition and supplementation weren't just optional, they're essential. That's why I choose Momentous supplements. Look, for me, the goal has always been about health span. Living better for longer. And when it comes to supplements for high performers, nobody does it like Momentous. Momentous invests heavily in NSF certification, meaning every batch of their products is tested for heavy metals, harmful additives, and label claim accuracy. You gotta know what you're putting in your body. And that's why Momentous is trusted by all 32 professional NFL teams and D1 collegiate sports team dietitians across the country. And look, Momentous doesn't offer every supplement under the sun. Other brands can do that just fine. Instead, Momentous nails the basics with bone-crushing consistency to help you build the perfect and intentional routine for you. And when we talk about basics, what are we talking about? What do I take? I take their protein and their creatine. Momentous protein is best in class for muscle repair and growth, while their CreaPure creatine, the purest form of creatine monohydrate, supports both physical strength and cognitive performance. These are foundational supplements that I continue to use this day in my health journey for physical strength, mental fitness, and emotional resilience. So whether you're taking your first step or your next step in your fitness journey, these supplements are the building blocks of living better longer. Go to livemomentous.com and try it today at 20% off with code STRENGTH. That's livemomentous.com, 20% off with code STRENGTH, and start living on purpose today.
All right. Well, since I stole and kind of piggybacked off you, I'll give you what my next one was for you. What was the most unexpected mental fitness moment that you had in 2024 this year that you were like, oh, wait, shit, this is growth. Like I'm doing the thing.
Yeah. And when you say mental fitness moment, you ended there almost more of like a positive moment.
It could be negative too, or it could be either. Yeah. Whatever comes to mind.
I have never felt greater temptation to binge drink in my life than in the past year, which flies in the face of everything you might expect, given this show, my pursuit of freedom from alcohol and other substances or distractions or indulgences. And it's more of an unexpected mental fitness to fit it through that lens, is because I didn't expect that by diving headfirst into these topics in this show and surrounding myself with amazing people who have stories like yours, I expected the exact opposite. I expected to be incredibly rejuvenated and strengthened and build endurance. But outside of what I've learned, I think just cerebrally and just by exploring these topics, another thing was going on, which was the pressure that I myself created by quitting my career and starting this podcast while also taking on the very, very serious, intense responsibilities of being essentially a part-time, stay-at-home dad, and spending all that time with not just any kids, but kids who are very young, very emotionally unpredictable and chaotic at times. So I think the dual pressures of just like the volume of noise and tasks and responsibilities of the stay-at-home dad part, coupled with the uncertainty and the unknown of whether this podcast would grow. And when you're helping people, it's not like you just want it to grow because you want it to, be this big money-making machine or whatever. But when you're investing so much time in a show, you hope that it can grow so that it can sustain itself and justify the time commitment, right? So all that to say, two different types of pressures and intensities were happening at the same time. One was just physically, audibly, my kids like screaming and needing, but then the other was more insidious. And all that to come back without droning on too much, like I wanted so much and so often to return to a familiar foe to help me just turn down the noise and to just turn off the rumination. And that is the very thing that drove me to do this in the first place. So I'm faithful and fully believing and hopeful that experience just deepened me and my resolve even further to focus on it going forward. And we're going to talk about 2025, but like it was humbling and like really eye-opening that like, hey, this thing is still there. This tendency and this habit is still there. Yeah. And for my own mental fitness, I need to make sure I'm continuously, exploring. And I know we're going to talk about 2025, like one of my big goals that has to do exactly with this, but like for my mental fitness, I guess I thought I was fitter than I was, and I wasn't. And I'm very comfortable sharing that.
No, it's a check that I feel like we all have at some degree on this journey that we're on. Some of us don't have the fortunate ability to talk about it like you are before. Thank God nothing happened. But like a lot of times these are post relapse conversations. And going back to everything with all the pressures and everything you were saying in 2024, like I'm a huge believer that Satan attacks those that are doing the opposite of what he wants the most. And all of the good that you've been putting out into the world and have been actively just dishing out since the beginning of this past year, like you were doing what everyone needs. And Satan and I strongly believe that he tries to attack those doing the Lord's work. And I feel like with all the good that's being shared and all of the hope that you're giving people, that homie's trying to say no, but it ain't going to work, man.
No, I appreciate you saying that. It's humbling. And what I do realize is if I just reflect on the last 13 months or so since the show's been out there, it's like there's probably been a dozen people that I've met along my 40 years on this earth that have reached out very privately, candidly, via text or message or DM that I had no idea were struggling with anything and would just say something of the effect of, hey man, I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm struggling with this thing too. And I'm listening and I'm watching. And even in those times when I was, early on, when I was wondering like, hey, like are people getting value from this show, or is it going to grow? Like if anyone that's listening that ever, reached out along the way, shot me one of those messages, just know that it really did matter. And it really did encourage me, especially at times when I was, doubting or struggling myself. So thank you to everybody that listens in general. So yeah, man, I lost track. Do I have a question for you, or are we done? I do?
No, you got me. Tee me up, dude. Let's go.
You know what? I'm gonna pull a cheap card. I'm gonna throw one of yours back at you now. Same question, and we talked about it a little bit because I already asked you, reflecting on the last year, how hard is it? But if you had to pick out, maybe go a little bit deeper on one specific thing or moment, emotionally, mentally, that was either an aha moment in a good way, like you're on the right track, or maybe like a realization that you still got work to do. But what was your mental fitness moment of 2024?
I think for me, and this is going to be a lot of kind of what I am hoping to achieve more of in 2025, my biggest mental health or fitness realization was how much of less I need in order to really be able to be present. And I think I shared this on, I think, one of the other episodes, but my kids have gotten really big into horseback riding and the barn life. And we have become like full-time barn people now, thanks to the friends that we have that actually own the horses that we lease and everything. And shout out Madeline, Cat, Bridge the Gap, Equine. They do horse stuff. Bridge the Gap. They give our girls all these amazing opportunities. And long story short, I never realized how aggressively in love myself and Alyssa, my wife, are going to fall in love with the barn life. And like, we chase land and like open space and just like being with animals now. And like, that shuts off my crazy, I think. Not all of it, but at least some of it. No noise, no electronics, like just being able to like connect. And like, the second or third time we were at one of the barns, and like, I was just staring out into the field. The sun was setting. There's amazing, big ass, beautiful horses everywhere. And I'm just like, what? Why am I about to cry? And I was like, what is happening? And then I'm just like, I can actually like hear my thoughts right now. And it was just like this mental epiphany of like, get your head out of your goddamn phone and a screen and go be with your kids and your family outside, enjoying and connecting with nature and other animals. And like that mental realization of like, I need this. This is what I want to chase. And I want that land and that openness to be what I open my front door to every morning. So that was my big was being out in nature and like the quiet in the space and like just taking it all in and understanding like, wow, this is real. Like this is what I should be looking at instead of all of the fun, positive news on social media that we see every day.
Yeah, look, I think for the longest time, I don't know that I fully appreciated it, but I think there's something very real that happens when we disconnect, literally, like disconnect from devices and technology. And then the second part is, and get out in like quiet, open, vast space. I think there's something deep that happens there, but it sounds like it resonated particularly with you in this particular moment in time.
And I mean, we've been booking Airbnbs at places I never thought we'd book. We booked an Airbnb in Lancaster on top of a horse barn, and it was the coolest experience ever. And the kids loved it. And like, we were just like, yeah, this is what we need in our lives. Horses and land. 2025 goals.
There's lots of horses and land in northern Colorado. I'm not sure if you knew that. So
it's still my number one.
Could always come out this way.
I will come back. That's the thing.
Let's talk about and pivot to looking forward to 2025. I think maybe just a good way to go deep, but keep it, pretty fluid here is just for both of us to answer a similar question. And it would sound something like this, what are your goals in 2025 or in general going forward? What are still those areas that you recognize that you can grow, right? And not goals like materials that we want to acquire, houses, cars, promotions, but more along the lines of deep emotional, mental, or even physical growth, right? And it doesn't have to be one thing, but let's just say like, hey, top of mind, 2025, how are we going to grow? What's the goals?
I wouldn't say I struggle with New Year's resolutions. I'm a believer of like, hey, you shouldn't have to wait until a certain day to try and be a better person. But like at the same time, like I'm doing it myself because I need a kick in the ass, I think one of the things that I struggle with the most is being consistent with things after jumping in head first. So the top of my list is getting more consistent with the scriptures and getting back into doing a devotional more than when I walk by and see the book. Like I need to make that more of a priority because I mean, it's palpable almost when you do it consistently and start your day with that, in my opinion. And I feel like makes me a better person, dad, husband, employee. So that is definitely my first goal that is very easily attainable. And the only thing that will be preventing me from attaining it is myself. So I have no excuses there. Kind of 2025 is going to be the year of sending it and just seeing what happens, man. Not holding back.
Yeah, for me, Justin, I don't think we've had a chance to talk about this, but I guess I'll start with a book that I'm reading and then what I've learned from it and then to the goal. But there's this book. It's called The Untethered Soul. I'm shouting out one book, but it's part of like an overall kind of area that I'm very interested in, which is seeking like full consciousness and full awareness. And those two words, I think like on a surface level view could be used interchangeably. They're different things, but they're very related. But essentially what I'm learning through just exploring, I wouldn't say that it's like Eastern type philosophy and spirituality, but it sort of is, but sort of not. I maintain obviously a strong, Christian faith, but there's what I find in books like The Untethered Soul or The Power of Now and things like that. What it really tries to focus on is like the inner voice and the inner consciousness, and trying to separate the two, like being able to be so aware and so present that you can recognize when you have unhealthy thought patterns or voices communicating in your head that get really noisy, that kind of block out your ability to just experience life as it comes. And what I'm learning just in that process and reading that book in particular is that like there's still a lot of unfinished work that I need to do to get back to the core of who Jesse really is. Like if you were to take the 5-year-old me, pre-divorce of my parents, pre-losing my best friend at a young age to a bike accident, like my father dying of AIDS and then me getting a DUI and joining the military, and then like another divorce, and like all of the stuff that creates these like wounds, and you might even say trauma, and then all of the kind of guardrails that you build into your life and your consciousness to try to protect some of those wounds from being exposed, and just recognizing how am I doing life now? Am I still being defensive in some areas? Am I still insecure? Do I still feel inadequate? Am I still constantly thriving? Is my ambition healthy? Like just really kind of like once and for all questioning all of that and tying it back to like this idea of, who is the real me and who is the healthy me, and how do I, and this is key, it's like, how do I once and for all, and it's not going to be like a switch, it's going to take time, but like, how do I just let go of all of that kind of tension and noise and complexity so I can just, and I'll use the word finally enjoy the sweetness and the blessings of this life, because I still feel like I'm kind of tethered to or chained to these unhealthy things that live inside of me that I haven't fully let go. And I think a big part of that, and a very specific goal in 2025, is to finally consistently commit to therapy. I'm one of those people where, again, back to me not being like a patient man, like I'll go 3 sessions to therapy
It's not
and
working.
then be like, or not even that. I'll be like, oh, I got this. I see where this is going, and I got it. Yeah, I
got
need to
this
do
guy
this
figured
more.
out.
Yeah, and then I go back a year later and I'm like, it's still there, dude. but I think I'm droning on here. But I think first and foremost, it's a commitment to therapy, doing like the inward work, but so that I can finally free myself. Because I also think part of the question you asked me earlier about like the mental fitness thing, I mean, clearly I don't have the tools in place to cope with some of the challenges of life. And I still think that I'm reacting to certain things more intensely than I should. Like for instance, like stressful kids and stressful things. So I think it's doing the work, really committing to it, being consistent, unlocking those areas that are unhealthy, and like kind of like letting them go so I can just be present and fully conscious.
Dude, that inward work is so hard. Like there's no way around it. It's hard as shit. But that is the most rewarding thing that I feel like anyone can do. And I said it to you before, like doing the step work was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Doing me shit, but like that was life-changing. And that is, I stand on that as being the foundation as to why I'm sober still today. Obviously not the only reason, but like doing that and understanding, like going years and years back of like, oh wow, I didn't think that even did anything or bothered me then, but here I like, and just working through all of that and like understanding again, like what is that? Who am I? And like, why do certain things make me do certain things? And what am I trying to not feel? And then identifying those things, just light bulbs start going off and things just start making sense. And you're like, I get it now. Like it doesn't make shit go away by any means, but it helps you understand more of the reason why. And I think you and I are similar to this based on what we just said, like reacting to certain things, but like this is at the core of why we react the way we do to everything, big or small. So as hard as it is, I will say that is a hell of a goal, and I'm proud of you, man. And I think it'll be more than rewarding and freeing. That part, freeing.
That's the key word, man. If there's a word or words for me for 2025, it's get freed, and that's a real word.
I like that.
FREED is a real word. Yeah, I was going to ask you, man. It's funny. Everything I just said, as you started talking, I was thinking before you got to it. I was like, man, I wonder if some of the step work framework allowed you to dive in there and allowed you to start to do that.
I still have my notebook from when I did my step work for the first time years ago. And there's definitely like, I want to do a 4-step again eventually. And I know there's plenty of people that I've met in the rooms over the years, that have done the steps multiple times. Obviously, that's not something I look forward to doing, but I definitely think, life's going to continue to life. And there's definitely self-improvement's an everyday thing. And I am no different than anyone else who needs to continue to, figure out why things are happening up here that should or shouldn't be. But that key thing, the why behind it is important.
Life is going to continue to life. That's good. Do you make that up?
I did. I'm really smart, man. Yeah.
Oh man, that's good. Life is good to life. All right. So last thing, man, we're gonna part ways here and just maybe one more piece here. I'll go first so we can close down with you, our first guest ever on the show, Justin. Man, it was over a year ago, but maybe just some parting thoughts or encouragement for anybody listening, whether it's someone like my brother who is hopefully 33, 34 days into a journey of healing and recovery, or just anyone in general, just some parting encouragement. And I'll go first. I'll say this. If I had to pick one thing to encourage people, we'll piggyback up what Justin said there. It's just, find your why in life and maybe examine your life. And I think when it comes to substance use or overindulging on anything, social media, alcohol, whatever, usually that thing that you choose or things is an outlier in your life. And what I mean is if you look around and you're working hard and you're loyal in your relationships and you're committed to people and you can honestly look in the mirror and say, I'm a good person and I'm doing everything healthy and I'm doing everything to grow and be better, except this one thing or except these things. An example for me would always be alcohol, right? I'm working out, I'm loving my wife, I'm being a good dad, being all these things. But then there's this thing out here that is totally counter to everything else and everything that I want to be. I would say examine your life, try to find that thing or things. And in 2025, be intentional, put a plan in place to remove it or contain it and share your journey with someone so that you can get some accountability, because we're all so good at being secretive and sometimes manipulative, and you got to put it out in the put the light into the darkness, right? So, or the other way around. But that's
well said, man.
That's my parting hope and encouragement for anybody listening. Justin,
I love that. It's tough to top that, so I won't even try. But no, I think obviously we're talking a lot about self-improvement and doing the inward work and everything. This is about so much more than just not drinking or not picking up and everything. Like, we don't have to wait until it's too late to try and start working on ourselves. And if you're in a fortunate enough position where, you are in a decent spot right now, but that, like Jesse was saying, everybody has that thing that is in the back of their brain that they know they need to either deal with or go through, but they continue to go around. Deal with that thing and make 2025 your year, and don't wait until it's too late, because Jesse and I have both buried many people this year, unfortunately, that aren't at that opportunity again. And I know all of you listening probably have done the same thing and dealt with it as well. Don't be another statistic and do that stuff that you need to, the hard stuff, because it's going to pay dividends in so many areas of just not drinking or cutting out whatever substance or behavior you need to. And if you don't believe me, prove me wrong.
Yeah, it's a cliched saying, but you only live once. And I think a powerful kind of second part of that is you only live once, so act like it. Life is fleeting. Take care of yourself, everybody. Justin, man, thanks for being here. I love you, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man. As always, I love you too. 2025 is going to be a great year.
Let's go. Let's do it. To everybody listening, we wish you nothing but the best, success, blessings, health, all the good things. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, live deep, everybody. That's the show, folks. Thanks for joining Sober Strength. I really hope you enjoyed my conversation with Justin. I love having him on, just talking about growth and just all things life. Truly hoped the conversation inspired, enlightened, and motivated you to have a great year. And as always, like to close with a quote, this time from the very book that we mentioned in the previous episode here, which is The Untethered Soul by author Michael Singer. And the quote is, There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You are the one who hears it. End quote. So with that, I thank you once more for joining the show and send you off. I hope you have a great day, week, and an amazing 2025. Live deep, everybody.